Distinguished ministers, dear entrepreneurs, dear friends of Norway and Estonia, I'm honored to welcome you all to the virtual business visit between Estonia and Norway today. Our event is being streamed via YouTube and it will remain publicly accessible also after the event. Let me briefly introduce the order of today's agenda. First, we are going to receive statements from the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Estonia, Mr. Urmas Reinsalu, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Norway, Ms. Ine Eriksen Søreide. Then, I will give the floor to our keynote speakers, Ms. Kaja Tael and Mr. Magnar Ödelien. After we have heard the keynote speeches, we are going to listen to the short 2-minute pitches from the 12 participating companies from Estonia and Norway. Then we are going to have a short coffee break. And after that, our official and open part of the visit will be over. But the bilateral B2B and B2Gov meetings are going to continue in the private platform, which link you can find on the right on the screen in the sidebar. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to proceed by inviting here the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Urmas Reinsalu. Please, Mr. Urmas Reinsalu, the floor is yours.
Thank you, dear Ina, dear Norwegian, Estonian friends. I'm truly honored to speak here today at the virtual business forum between Estonia and Norway. And truly, this occasion highlights the excellent and deep bilateral relations between our two countries. We are true friends. The themes of this visit, smart mobility and green technology, are highly topical in the current pandemic situation, which has underlined the need for meaningful connections, a priority of Estonia's coordination year also in Northern Baltic 8 cooperation format. On top of this, the coronavirus crisis offers an opportunity, paradoxically, to build back greener that we simply must take for the sake of our planet. And while it is a task for governments to show leadership in setting us all on the path of green transition and initiating the necessary large investments, it is clear that enterprises are crucial in implementing the transition. I'm very glad to see the daily developments in our country's R&D and private enterprise sectors resulting in new technologies. Estonia is committed to its own ambitious climate goals and the EU-wide goals for 2030 and 2050. To reach these goals in a just manner for member states, EU financial support and an EU-wide enabling framework are key. We expect quick movement towards final agreement on the EU multi-annual budget and recovery fund to release necessary finances for green transition to reach member states. Green transition is not simply a necessary and prudent choice to save the planet. It is also a growth strategy that our countries and companies have a lot to gain from. Smart mobility and green technology sectors can contribute to reaching climate goals for both Estonia and Norway. The success of our companies in these fields places them in a good position to export their technologies worldwide. Estonia welcomes Norway's interest to link up with the EU Green Deal, and surely Norway and Estonia can find cooperation opportunities in the GD framework. On the road to climate neutrality, different paths can be taken, but one thing is certain. The share of renewable energy in the energy mix of countries must grow. Also for Estonia, it remains the main challenge, and we see wind power as the most promising source, in particular offshore wind energy in the Baltic Sea. We have a vision of an offshore grid in the Baltic Sea that would help the whole Northern Baltic 8 region to become climate neutral together. This topic was highlighted in September during the first ever NB8 Climate Envoys meeting and the following NB8 Foreign Ministerial hosted in Tallinn. It is gaining attention in the EU and has been supported by the Commission's offshore wind strategy. And we hope Norway can link up with this vision. I'm very glad that our today's business visit focuses on forward-looking industries like green technology and smart mobility, which contribute to the sustainability of our modern life. Estonian companies participating in the visit are ready to share their innovative solutions and unique experience. Successful recovery from the crisis also calls for reinvigorating the single market. Here, Estonia believes digital solutions should have a key role. As a member of European Economic Area, Norway participates in the single market, contributing also to the cohesion of the EU and EEA grants. The current crisis has vividly demonstrated the growing importance of digital cooperation. Our today's visit is an example of such a cooperation, but I'm also truly glad that Norway has supported the digital declaration launched in July and co-initiated by Estonia and Singapore. This declaration, which aims to close the digital divide and fight the pandemic with digital solutions, is becoming more and more relevant each day. Friends, I hope today's event will open up cooperation opportunities for Norwegian and Estonian entrepreneurs. Thank you all once again for participating in our very special virtual business visit. I will be looking forward to warmly welcoming you all in Estonia as soon as the corona situation allows, and also hope that I will be able to come to Norway with our entrepreneurs as soon as possible. I wish you all beautiful season and that you stay safe and healthy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Urmas Reinsalu. And now I would like to give floor to the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Norway, Ms. Ine Eriksen Søreide. Please, Ms. Søreide, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much. And dear Urmas, thank you for hosting and inviting for this seminar. This is a very, very timely initiative. And let me also extend a warm welcome to all the Estonian and Norwegian entrepreneurs, business people, and also people from government agencies and municipalities and everyone else who are now taking part in this seminar. Of course, the COVID-19 pandemic has fundamentally changed our daily lives, not least limiting the way we are able to meet. But since we cannot meet in person, I think this is a very good alternative. And I'm glad to see that so many companies and so many municipalities and government agencies are participating. Today's business forum is also a very good example of how we can transform the challenges that we meet into opportunities. Innovative solutions such as this virtual visit makes it possible to continue the contact and to strengthen the ties between our business communities and of course also our two countries. Next year, we have a big celebration coming up. It's marking the 100 years of diplomatic relations between Estonia and Norway. Estonia has had a very successful upward trajectory since regaining its independence, and we are very, very proud to be close partners and allies. I was very pleased to meet with President Kalulajad in Oslo on November 20th, and we reaffirmed our common priorities, our identity, and our values. And we hope for the opportunity, of course, to see Urmas in Norway sometime very soon, and I will be very happy to also, of course, take you up north. Economic ties between our countries are expanding very rapidly. We see a wide number of Norwegian companies, public agencies, and municipalities that have established very fruitful cooperation with Estonian counterparts, and I'm very confident that this trend will continue. We see an increase in both import and export between our two countries. We have around 200 active companies with Norwegian capital in Estonia. And we also see the increasing contact between our ICT and also startup communities in our countries. Estonia and Norway are both deeply committed to achieving the UN Sustainable Development Goals and also fulfilling the Paris Agreement. But we have one other thing in common, and that is our strong commitment and engagement for the European Green Deal. We are very happy to note that the need for carbon capture and storage has been recognized as one of the pillars of the European Green Deal. Indeed, for many energy-intensive industries, the CSS is currently the only method available for reducing CO2 emissions. And the Norwegian government has recently proposed to invest in a large-scale project called Longship to scale up this technology. We need other countries and companies to follow suit to ensure that this project will be a success. This business forum is also an example of innovation in a time of need. New thinking and entrepreneurship are essential to deal with the challenges of tomorrow, such as the fight to prevent climate change. We need smart and new technologies. We need a broader collaboration between the private and public sectors if we are to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions and to introduce sustainable solutions. It's crucial that Estonia and Norway alike can take further steps in developing green technology and smart mobility. Our cooperation through the EEA and Norway grants has a role to play in this context, and I'm glad that Urmas mentioned our cooperation. Norwegian and Estonian companies have benefited from reciprocal bilateral ties through the EEA and Norway grants ever since 2004. So we are in a way marking 16 years of very solid cooperation. The overall purpose of the scheme is to help reduce economic and social inequality in the EEA and to strengthen relations between our two countries. Last year, the Green ICT program was launched in Estonia under the EEA and Norway grant scheme. Promoting green growth has been a priority for both our countries for a long time, but it is always easier to find solutions when we work together. This is why green innovation and business development is a priority area in the Norwegian-Estonian cooperation program under the EEA and Norway grants. Norway has increased our funding for this program from 6 million euros in the last period to 23 million euros in the present period. The program currently supports projects in 3 focus areas. Green industry innovation is one of it, ICT and welfare technology. These are all sectors that are likely to be of critical importance in promoting economic recovery after the pandemic. The program has already delivered results, and one example is the development of an online sensor for patients with kidney failure, a cooperative effort between the Estonian company Optofluid Technologies and the Norwegian company First Sensing Eyes. It will be fascinating to follow the next steps in this very exciting collaboration. Dear friends, I'm very encouraged to see the mutual interest in expanding business cooperation between Estonian and Norwegian companies. And I do hope that this business forum will provide you with some new contacts and open up some new opportunities for you and your companies. I really wish you all the best and best of the luck for the forum. And I would like to echo what Irma said about staying safe and healthy. And please, everyone, also have a nice holiday. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Søreide, for this positive and forward-looking speech. And now I would like to invite here our keynote speaker, Ms. Kaja Tael, the Ambassador at Large for Climate and Energy Policies in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Estonia. Please, Kaja, the floor is yours.
Dear friends, the ministers have put today's event in a broader political European Union context. I can only add that the Nordic-Baltic regional cooperation takes the central stage in Estonia's EU policies. In each and every walk of life, we always think first about consulting our neighbors. And nothing, apart from COVID-19 at the moment, concentrates our mind more than the European Union Green Deal. It has to take account of all the economic activity and hopefully brings along a positive environmental impact in every field. This is not possible without disruptive new technology, green technology. We anticipate huge boosts to the sector through European Union recovery funds and the Estonian government has already started the programming. Business people participating today belong to this sector. But being Estonia, we almost can't imagine new technology without also being smart technology. Digital solutions are part of the puzzle. This is true around the world, but combinations are endless. We hope that both Estonian and Norwegian companies will find interesting ideas today, and that further cooperation will follow. Norway is already an important trading partner and export market for Estonian entrepreneurs. Green technology and smart mobility have increasing potential. Important support is provided by Norway's contribution via EEA grants. The Minister referred to this already, and we will hear more about this in the following keynote speech. Estonia finds those grants most useful, especially for enhancing scientific cooperation between Estonian and Norwegian universities, but also concerning today's topic, advancing green digitalization projects, as the current focus is on innovation. EEA financial mechanism supports also circular economy in Estonia, an important part of the Green Deal. This involves capacity building, for example, green public procurement or green school competition, as well as practical implementation. But Estonia's startups already offer digital solutions for circular economy in developing countries, like Bangladesh. Half of Estonian companies who are participating today have been involved in EEA grants project. For the other half, I hope today will spark further interest and future participation in the program. Ladies and gentlemen, as a way of introduction to the following pitches from the companies, let me now describe the green technology landscape in Estonia in general. In many ways, enterprises lead the way. While the Estonian government took its time to sign up to the EU 2050 and 2030 goals of reducing the greenhouse gases, understandably so, as we are still heavily fossil fuel dependent and transition needs a thorough plan, many Estonian biggest companies made their own commitment. At the Tallinn Digital Summit 2019, 33 Estonian technology companies signed a Tech Green Pledge, promising to take their operations to a completely environmentally sustainable basis by 2030. The number is well over 50 now. But the public sector also has a vision. Our foreign minister referred to it when speaking about offshore wind energy and its regional dimension. Developing wind energy is our main commitment on our road towards climate neutrality. Obviously, we immediately think in this connection about another renewable energy source, hydrogen. Green hydrogen produced in the offshore wind parks can both stabilize wind energy reserves as well as replace fossil fuels in transport and industry in the future. Today, we need the research. Well aware of this, the Estonian government has launched a comprehensive analysis of the potential of hydrogen technologies in daily use. The study shall identify the most promising sectors, outline the cost, and assess the wider scalability potential. In order to accelerate the entry of green hydrogen to the market and promote the consumption, we are planning financial support to pilot projects in Estonia. As a rule, new technologies require significant investment, which may be difficult to obtain on the commercial basis. In the immediate future, public sector support is necessary to facilitate uptake of green hydrogen technologies. In the longer term, financial markets hopefully will take over, just as it has happened with other renewables. On the other hand, the project provides opportunities for our R&D sector, promotes transition towards new business models, and increases our competitiveness. International cooperation in this field is well recognized as an asset all over Europe. Apart from hydrogen research, we look with great interest towards Norway as for carbon capture and storage technology. For the coming decade or two, oil shale will still be used in the Estonian industries, but the technologies need to become much cleaner. Our scientists are working on CCS as well. Further analysis is certainly needed here. Let me now turn to some areas where research has already borne fruit in Estonia. We have some practical solutions to the many challenges posed by the COVID crisis and economic lockdown. Take public transport. It is important to keep distance from other passengers and the drivers. Paying for the fare should be contactless, but prepaid tickets and validation cards are of course well known already. But where can you swipe your credit card at the validator? The answer is exactly in two areas: Estonian biggest cities and the Skåne region in Sweden, including Malmö. The solution is provided by the Estonian company Ridango, participating today. Better still, if public transport were self-driving. To promote this, testing of self-driving vehicles on all national and local roads is legal in Estonia for several years already. This summer, there were 2 last-mile self-driving buses commuting in real traffic as part of Tallinn's public transport system. One of the buses was developed by an Estonian company, Auvetech. But self-driving vehicles also require roadside smart infrastructure. For example, you could use smart pedestrian crosswalk, developed by Berkman Technologies, to see around corners and detect road users well in advance. Poor decisions of the road users due to the lack of information about the traffic environment are the primary cause of traffic accidents on pedestrian crosswalks. In Estonia, we are introducing smart, unregulated pedestrian crossings which monitor approaching pedestrians and alert drivers to their presence, thus improving road safety. Estonia is also developing an enabling layer of mobility services. A standardized ride requests platform called Mass XT, developed by Modern Mobility. The solution allows to plan trips using several different modes of transport with a single touch and purchase all necessary tickets in one go. More convenient and simpler public transport that meets people's needs more accurately could reduce the use of personal cars with all its benefits, moving closer to climate targets, reducing household costs, and providing better air quality. Another example of contactless services in Estonia is remote monitoring of the stability of critical infrastructure objects, such as tunnels, roads, utility grids, bridges, and railways. Through using space-based technology, we prevent big disasters from happening and reduce the number of trips to objects. The solution Sille is provided by Estonian company Datel. These are only a few examples of what is going on in the Estonian green technology sector. Growth usually comes in clusters, and today we see most potential in renewable energy and energy efficiency, as well as smart cities and mobility. However, sky is the limit when you talk to young people. Just a few weeks ago, Estonia organized a regional youth hackathon, Green Together. Over 300 young people from the Nordic and Baltic countries presented their ideas on how to green the economy. The best projects were immediately picked up by Estonian business accelerators. We hope that this event could be repeated in the future in other NB8 countries. By the way, Estonia also hosts the headquarters of the biggest global NGO, World Cleanup Day. It all started about 15 years ago from a local initiative calling for volunteers to remove waste dumped illegally all around Estonia. The slogan was and is, just do it. Cleaned up landscape is a green landscape. Let's work for this in more ways than one. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaja, for this thorough overview and vision for a greener future. And now I would like to give the floor to Mr. Magnar Ödelien, the Program Director for EEA in Innovation Norway. Please, Mr. Ödelien, the floor is yours.
Dear Excellencies, dear participants, the purpose of my brief intervention here today is to reflect a little bit on the link between business development and sustainability, both from the perspective of businesses, but perhaps even more from the perspective of funding schemes, public funding schemes such as the schemes implemented under EEA Norway grants. Sorry, I have to find the clicker. Of course, 2015 could be considered as some kind of turning point for the discussion on sustainability. We all know that the discussion started way before that, but with the important decisions taken in 2015, that would be then, of course, the UN sustainability goals already mentioned by the minister, and also the Paris Agreement on climate change. It was a kind of set a new focus on the discussion on sustainable development. We know that the discussion started in the late 80s and continued during the 90s, and of course also all the years after that, but it got a new focus from maybe 2010 or something like that, and even more than from 2015. And the people old enough to have been part of the discussion that took place during the early 90s, they know that the discussion now on sustainability is very, very different from the discussions that took part in the early 90s. Because in the early 90s, it was more or less a discussion that took part among authorities and NGOs and other types of interested people, but still the businesses, they were not that much involved in the discussion. But if you now look at the discussion going on for the time being, the businesses are in some way in the forefront of the discussion. They are taking part in this in a very, very different way. And now we can even see sometimes that the authorities are running after the businesses and not the other way around. Because the early discussions on sustainability, they were very much about how could we regulate businesses to be able to force them to perform in a better way. But now we can see with the goals established in 2015 that the contribution of businesses is then critical for the possibility to succeed on implementing the goals. And you see the same as regards the Paris 2015 goals, that businesses, they are crucial for the implementation of this. And if we then look about then what the businesses, how they will think, the approach today in a business is much more holistic than it used to be, because of course it's still about value creation, both for the enterprises and for its customers, but it's also much more based on the triple bottom line, the three dimension of sustainability. The companies will always discuss and always have in mind and the economic sustainability to increase their turnover and operational profit, but they will also very much look at the environmental sustainability, the greening of their production processes, the reduce and reuse of resources, and so on. And they will also look at the social sustainability, the job creation, and the social responsibility. That is important for the companies to be able to survive in the market today, because they know that their customers, they expect the companies to take all the three dimensions into account. So if we then look about on the driver sustainable society, that will of course be the development of technology. That is an important part of it. And even there, we can see a big change from the early 90s and until today. Because, for instance, the opportunities given by them the development as regards ICT makes them the completely new ball game compared to the technologies available when the discussions on sustainability went on in the early 90s. And that also offered the opportunities to develop new business models, simply because the business models now, they are based on technology not existing before maybe than the last 10, 15 years. So that is also something very, very different. It's possible to develop business models that are much more environmentally friendly and sustainable than with the technology we had before and back in the 90s when we discussed sustainability. And that also gives much better opportunities for social innovation. As I said, businesses, they don't only now discuss the economic impact of what they are doing. They will have to also take into account the social aspects, and that makes room also for more social innovation. And of course, you have heard about all the concepts discussed related to the effective use of resources. You have the circular economy concept that is very much discussed and important. Of course, building on and developed based on similar concepts that's already existed, but still it's a new ball game and gives much more opportunities for companies to be a part of both the discussion, but not, and even more important, the implementation of measures related to sustainable development. I'm sorry, I have some problems with the clicker, but I'll find it again. So then on the funding, it's already mentioned that a program financed by EEA Norway grants, or actually by Norway grants, is under implementation in Estonia. It gives opportunities for Estonian and Norwegian companies to get funding for cooperation projects. All business programs financed by EEA Norway grants, they have a very important green profile. You have heard that the term green industry innovation. That's actually a concept developed by Innovation Norway. It first appeared in an internal memo in Innovation Norway in March 2010, because that was when we planned the previous period of EEA Norway grants. And also the result framework of the business programs financed, they are very much complementary to other programs, not at least the environment programs. So it's a very much a green profile on all the programs financed by EEA Norway grants. And that's also reflected in this very nice slogan that we try to use when we talk about the business programs. It's a realization of business opportunities of greening the European economy. And the slogan is good for business and good for the environment. So what kind of green projects are supported by EEA Norway grants? Well, the concept of green industry innovation is broad and flexible. So it's both financing projects related to innovation, that would be research and development projects to develop green products, green solutions. But it's also a greening of existing enterprises. That could be investment projects to make then production processes of companies greener than it used to be. And it's even a component on entrepreneurship. We'll like to finance project then for supporting new entrepreneurs that could contribute to a greening of the industry. But then it's a very, very important part that you have to make the distinction between green versus greening, because we have to admit that not all business activities can be what we will categorize as green processes or green products. So that's why the programs finance both development of green solutions that are really green, but as I said, also finance investment projects that would make existing and new industry greener than the alternative. And that will still fit within the label of green industry innovation. But it's not only about developing solutions. It's also a challenge to make sure that the existing new solutions, innovative solutions within the green area are known. And that's why Norway and also Innovation Norway have had a lot of focus on marketing of solutions. And we have established the Explorer, which is the Norway's official marketplace for green technologies. It was launched by our Prime Minister 2 years ago and was then labeled Tinder for businesses. So that is a platform promoting Norwegian companies and connect them with international buyers and partners. So that is an important tool to be able to find Norwegian green solutions offered in the market. And as of today, we have at Explorer more than 390 vetted solutions, and vetted is an important keyword because you can't just put a solution up on Explorer. They are vetted by experts. And they are from 10 sectors. You'll see the sectors there. And actually, related to the thematic area for the event today, green tech and smart mobility, we can mention that we have 91 solutions on transportation and more than 100 solutions, 128 solutions related to green technology. And actually, out of 4 of the Norwegian companies that you can find on Explorer, they have made new contacts based on what they have presented on Explorer. So it's a very, very useful tool, both for the Norwegian companies present, but also then for the possible partners. And actually, 700 international companies are registered. And actually, the Norwegian participants that will pitch after my presentation, they are also on Explorer. They have their solutions presented there. So it's a very, very useful tool. I wish you all the best of luck with the rest of this event. And we have already seen actually before this started that meetings that took place before the official event have already led to some very, very interesting possible contacts between the Norwegian and Estonian participants. So I wish you the best of luck with the matchmaking that will take place. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ödelian, for this motivating presentation about business development and sustainability, and also about the EEA Norway grants. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to give the floor to our entrepreneurs, who are the main reason our business visit is taking place today. Each presentation is going to be a 2-minute pitch, and I would kindly like to ask you to all be punctual and stick to your 2 minutes. And now, I would like to invite Mr. Sven Rosenberg from Ridango. Please, Mr. Rosenberg, the floor is yours.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Agate, for the opportunity to speak. Dear ministers and dear keynote speakers, thank you for the interesting speeches. My name is Sven Rosenberg, and I'm the Business Development Manager here at Ridango. Ridango is an Estonian-based company that is focusing on developing different public transport IT solutions. And one of the key elements that we're developing is, one of them is account-based ticketing, which is our core solution. Secondly, a passenger real-time information system that enables passengers to easily and simply plan their journeys. And also as a third option, as also one of our key speakers already mentioned, it's a contactless EMV solution that enables passengers simply and seamlessly, without thinking where to buy the ticket, how much it costs, just tapping the validator and buy the ticket. But fourth, as a solution which has been on our roadmap, has been a demand responsive solution, which is an extension to our ticketing system that actually enables rural areas to also cater for the people who actually need an access and easy use of public transport. So our solution will enable that and also will benefit also the public transport authorities and operators to actually save money and save actually on terms of buses without sending specific fixed route lines there, but use the service as an on-demand solution. Mainly, Ridango has been focusing on the Scandinavian market, but we also have several implementations in Estonia, of course, in Lithuania and other countries, and of course Norway, where we actually are cooperating with one of the biggest operators called Router, where we actually provide our hardware. And through our innovative solutions, we believe that we also help millions of people to use the public transport seamlessly. So thank you for the opportunity, and we will be happy to share our experience later on with you.
Thank you, Mr. Rosenberg. Next, we will hear from Mr. Johannes Mossov from Auvetech. Please, Mr. Mossov, the floor is yours.
Hello, thank you very much. I am Johannes Mossov, CEO of Auvetech. So overall, Auvetech specializes on the development and manufacturing of self-driving vehicles and autonomous systems. Our shuttle Liseauto is aimed at helping the last mile mobility by filling the gap in public transportation in order to make it more convenient and accessible to everybody. By doing this, we can decrease the usage of personal vehicles and make the future mobility more sustainable. We have kept the solution as affordable as possible so it can be implemented into as many environments as possible, regardless of the economic landscape. Everything from the development of the shuttle, the manufacturing, the implementation of the system to the fleet management is done in-house in order to keep the solution as flexible as possible. This way we can customize it to suit different customer needs. And I think this is the main possibility why we have developed also a hydrogen-based energy system for our vehicles and also one supercapacitor vehicle to get different solutions for different country possibilities. Auvetech started out in 2018 by developing a prototype from scratch together with the Tallinna Technical University. From that we have spinned out and all the development has done in-house. This year we started our first public road deployments and we have together 10 street legal vehicles which we have deployed. They have been operating in Tallinn, in Finland and in Greece. And in these 2 years, we have proven that there are various environments that could benefit from our solution. So it can drive in cold environments, warms. Also possibilities are in airports, harbors, business campuses, and so on. And even some tourism sector possibilities like zoos, resorts, and open air museums. So our main goal is to find municipalities and partners from all over the world with whom we can enhance the future of mobility together already today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mossov. And now I would like to invite Kaspar Anton from IV Technologies. Please, Mr. Anton, the floor is yours.
Good day to everyone. My name is Kaspar Anton from Ivy Technologies, and we are empowering infrastructure digitization by making 3D data more accessible, more understandable, and more usable in many needed use cases. Already today, there is an enormous amount of data being generated about road networks. There are camera-based systems, smartphone-based systems, high-accuracy scanning technologies, mobile mapping systems, and engineering surveys constantly in action generating data. With the growing trends and needs of the sectors like digital twin, smart city, and autonomous vehicles, this data amount will rise up 10 times or even 100 times in near future. How will this data be managed? Or even more important, how can the local authorities and state road administrations utilize the benefits that this data brings for the public good? Well, this is what we do in Ivy Technologies. With our AI-based 3D data processing platform, we are able to combine all existing inputs and detect industry-specific information in maximum detail level. This can then be used to make crucial decisions, how to make predictive maintenance, how to raise the road safety for every road users, and how to prepare for the future of autonomous vehicles. We have already successfully implemented our technologies in Estonia and Poland. And just this year, we have piloted in Sweden, Finland, and soon in UK in few weeks. We are currently looking for partners in Norway and Sweden to expand together, especially partners who have already existing client base in local governments with their road analytics platforms. At the same time, we are also looking for investment to accelerate our growth. So come join our crusade for mapping the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Anton. Next, we are going to listen to Tarvo Õng from Fusebox. Please, Mr. Õng, the floor is yours.
Thank you. My name is Tarvo. I'm the CEO and founder of Fusebox. And Fusebox is enabling balancing services for electricity systems globally. In every electricity grid, the demand and supply must be equal in every moment. And it's a pretty hard task to do for local transmission system operators or, let's say, balancing companies. The balance is so important or similar to human vascular system, let's say the blood pressure, that if your blood pressure is in the correct, then you feel good. But if it's going too high or too low, then you feel bad. And the same is with electricity system. And finally, if it goes away too much, then it's a blackout one way or another, and blackouts we want to avoid. Usually diesel or gas generators, or in Norway, hydro is used for balancing. But Fusebox is using electricity consumers' flexibility to help balancing the electricity grid. And in Estonia and Latvia and Lithuania, we are demand response aggregators, but in other countries, we are building platform for trading flexibility. We are building the layer in the local market that brings the flexibility to the TSOs, transmission system operators, so that they can balance the electricity system. We have necessary technology, hardware, and software to do it globally. And this is our team. We are in Singapore, Australia, and in other countries globally. And we are looking for cooperation partners from Norway to run the business together. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Õng. Now I will invite Christian Lind from Bikekeep. Please, Mr. Lind, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, participants, and thank you, everybody, for having me. So I'm Christian. I'm the CEO of Bikekeep. And the reason why we do exist is because we do understand that the future of mobility is going to change. The cities need to rethink how people are getting around in the cities. What has brought us so far will not just bring us further from here. We need to move away from car-centric mobility. And this is what we wish to enable cities to do. So Bikekeep basically sits between the city and the community and the micromobility users. Either these are the personal vehicle users, personal cyclists or e-scooters, or shared mobility operators. And we help them, we help cities and communities to make micromobility actually work for them, so that it's well controlled and well organized. And the way we do it, and yeah, we're actually doing it quite globally, bringing all the different experiences from New Zealand, from California, from Finland, from Sweden, into our deployments, therefore making it a very universal and very well working system. And the way we do it is by deploying different kinds of smart infrastructures, e-scooter stations, lockers, bike stations, and combining it into one holistic platform for the municipality to control and one holistic app for the users. So for example, we deploy bike stations where users are able to lock their own personal bikes and charge them when there are e-bikes. They can interact with the stations really easily with the mobile app or with the local transit card. A very similar system for the bike lockers, where it's a shared-based access, so the same lockers can work for multiple users. And now also deploying e-scooter stations, dock-based e-scooter schemes and charging stations for personal e-scooters, so that the e-scooter mobility, which users really love, could actually very well work for the municipality, and it wouldn't cause the issues that it's causing in the urban environments today. So, and we wish to do it also very sustainably. We have the light electric vehicle charging stations, solar powered, very different various ways how these can be deployed in the cities. And what we are looking from this call is sort of cooperation partners who shall help us to bring these solutions into the cities, also different municipalities who want to build up the micromobility, so it would be a well-working system for all the different parties. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lind. Next, we are going to hear Mr. Hans Leis from Berkman Technologies. Please, Mr. Leis, the floor is yours.
Hi everyone, my name is Hans Leis and I'm the sales manager of Berkman Technologies. We are a company dedicated to develop smart road and smart infrastructure products and services. We do what we do because more than 90% of traffic accidents still happen because of humans make mistakes. And our long-term goal is to modernize the traffic infrastructure for the adoption of autonomous vehicles. This is a smart pedestrian crosswalk. It detects pedestrians and vehicle drivers with cameras and radars and warns all the participants before the accidents are about to happen. We have 4 backlighted signs and 8 warning lights for safety on the pole that will turn on automatically when the pedestrian steps on a crosswalk. We also have 2 speakers to notify the pedestrian before the accident is about to happen. Here you can see just a comparison picture of the same crosswalk with and without our system. We are smart because we use V2X technology. We can send personalized, standardized messages inside of modern vehicle screens to make the crosswalk even more safer with the latest technology. We can collect data about traffic and environment. For example, we can count cars to see whether the governmental implemented movement restrictions have worked or not. We have done a scientific R&D, eyesight catching and tracking project to measure the effectiveness of the SPC. On the picture, you can see the great results are presented to the president of Estonia by the rector of University of Tartu. Thank you everyone for listening, and please, let's all keep safe in traffic today, tomorrow, and also, of course, in the future. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Leis. And now I give the floor to our Norwegian friends. I would like to invite here Mr. Morten Rønning from CityQ. Please, Mr. Rønning, the floor is yours.
My name is Morten Rønning, as you said, founder of CityQ. We try to enable cities to replace car traffic with more cycling by developing a new type of e-bike, which is actually bridging some of the car technology and car capability into an e-bike. We have the honor to be part of a green ICT project already, working with Upsteam in Estonia to develop a mobile car wash by bicycles. And we're also working with Router in order to enable even the autonomous capability of an e-bike. So hoping to be the first self-driving e-bike in the world. We're now seeking pilot projects to work with enabling this CityQ e-bike pilot arena. I'm going to show that through a video now. So please take the video.
The freedom of moving around. Most cities are struggling with pollution and car traffic. So, how can we reduce the traffic and still have the freedom to move comfortably around in inner cities? E-scooters and bikes are great in summertime, but not ideal in rain, frost or bad weather. And as we see with COVID, public transportation can be restricted. Almost half of the families in cities do not have their own car. What if your next car has to be an e-bike? CityQ is making a weather-protected e-bike with comfort and technology like a car. We call it a car e-bike. Travel anywhere, anytime, and in all weather, with a car-like comfort and ability to, for instance, bring your children to kindergarten. Families across Europe are already pre-ordering CityQ at cityq.com. And even food delivery is switching from car transport to e-bikes. Soon, you will get your pizza delivered by a car or bike from Cityq. Cityq includes smart IT and tracking software, and will even be offered as leasing or for rental. We are ready to deliver to customers in the next 12 months. But we need some initial funding to finalize IT and kick off production. Do you want to be part of our high-tech transportation startup? If so, go to cityq.biz/invest and get more info. Or just give us a call.
Thank you, Mr. Rinning. Next, we will hear from Linn-Therese Marken from Mobility Forus. Please, Ms. Marken, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. My name is Linn-Therese Marken, and I'm the CEO of Mobility Forus, a Norwegian private company that introduce and connect people with autonomous solutions. We think that this is the way to make transport smarter and more accessible and more sustainable by helping people to increase their use of public transport. We do that with real-life testing on public road, and by doing this, we contribute to data and experience to the main road authorities. We also contribute to surgeons and to establish Norwegian's largest test arena for future transport solutions. And we believe that to learning, we need to have real-world testing, and we need to do that integrated with ordinary public transport, and to introduce this to the end of the day users, that is the public, families, elderly, and all users of public transport. We have the project portfolio with over 2,000 hours drive in mixed traffic. And we were the first project that introduced autonomous solutions as a part of public transport in mixed traffic in Norway. One of our owners is Boral, and they are the main operators in Norway. And here you can see where we are represented. And we are operating different kinds of technologies and different kinds of vehicles. And we are a part of the public transport in Norway. And we are also a part of EU projects that is ongoing, both in Norway and in the Netherlands. And we are looking forward to new upcoming opportunities together with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Marken. Now I would like to invite Axel Seiner from Disruptive Engineering. Please, Mr. Zeiner, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Agathe, and congratulations on a great event. So I'm from Disruptive Engineering, and we provide what we call next generation traffic data. And what we mean by that is that we collect more information than ever without gathering any personal sensitive information. And we want that data to be shareable and to be used in the application that has been mentioned already. So our sensor system is, simply put, 2 sensor strips that detect the unique signature of a vehicle. There's no camera, there's no license plate registration, only the vehicle's own fingerprint, let's say. And what we do with this, the exciting part, is what we do in software. So we do the counting, the speed, and everything that you have from your standard traffic counter. But for this context, I think it's interesting to find people who benefit from our ability to distinguish by fuel type. We can distinguish an electric vehicle from a diesel vehicle from a gasoline vehicle. And we can even separate vehicles down to make and model, if relevant. And we do a lot of analytics, but we also provide simple APIs so that the data can actually be used by other companies. So our main segments in Norway is critical infrastructure, so knowing what type of vehicles are in tunnels and other critical infrastructure. We do traffic management on highways and road networks, and we're also moving into cities to provide them with a better decision-making foundation, with knowing everything from bicycles to vehicles, measuring EV growth, electric vehicle growth, and even implementing zero emission zones. So we are looking for any company or any municipality that will benefit from this data and that can either use it or add value to it. And we think that Estonians are pretty progressive when it comes to digitalization. Not every country is that, but we feel that Estonian companies and Estonian municipalities would be a great fit. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zeiner. Next, we will hear from Ole Jakob Sördalen from Pixi. Please, Mr. Sördalen, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Pixi develops technology and systems for battery-based energy storage for various applications. Pixi is centered at the center of 2 green trends. First is the increasing installation of solar power. The other one is increased electrification of transport. Both these trends increase the need for flexibility in the electricity system. However, the increased electric vehicles also lead to lower battery costs, a potential source for this flexibility need. What Pixi is doing is that we developed power converters and advanced control that literally connects the flexibility source to the flexibility needs. And together with the best suited third-party batteries, we also then develop and provide complete battery-based energy storage systems. So we are looking for partners and users along the whole value chain. Together with partners, we can bundle together additional services and products to serve the flexibility needs of the grid operators, the commercial and industrial users, and also the electric vehicle charging infrastructure, so that they can increase their power capacity needs so that we can add more capacity for both renewable energy as well as for electric vehicle charging. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sördalen. Now I would like to invite Ms. Tone Ringstad from Culture Engine. Please, Ms. Ringstad, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me, and thank you for this wonderful event.
The people, profit, planet that Magne talked about is really the circle of where we are heading. We are a company, Culture Intelligence, as the name says. We work with making intelligent cultures for whatever need you have. So we are aligning your culture to the strategy. And in this sense, from what I can understand, all the strategies that we talk about today are around the green and the innovative strategies. So what if I could tell you that we can make the people that you work with more tuned in to the green economy, to the green technology, and really, really prioritize the green values higher than the profitable and the usual values? So what we do is make your culture visible and understandable, the one culture that you have right now. And our SaaS platform helps you define and identify and make it insightful what kind of a culture you really have. Now, that is a great starting point for understanding what needs to happen here in order for us to really increase our green focus and to make all the sustainability strategy targets understandable and owned. So we help leaders take the culture they have into a more culture that aligns with the strategies, and we help them understand and lead in a way that really promotes the green economy to be understandable and owned by all the people that are engaged and need to be engaged. So I'm looking for partners who need that, and that will help us spread that to the world. So thank you for having us, and good luck everybody to do this.
Thank you, Ms. Ringstad. And last but not least, I will give the floor to Per Hassel Sørensen from Podbike. Please, Mr. Sørensen, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Before I start, I would like to share a personal story. In the morning, the first working day of 2009, I was riding my bicycle to work. And then I was suddenly hit by a car that crushed my knee and almost broke my neck. And it left me with the fear of riding my regular bike. So I bought a Velomobil, a bike with a body shell that made me feel more protected when cycling. And I've used it for many years. But as a professional product developer, every trip in the Velomobil was an inspiration on how to make a Velomobil a perfect replacement for cars. And that's what we do. We are removing excuses for using your car to help fight the climate crisis. We provide the world with the most sustainable solutions for short distance mobility. The problem is that 7 million people die every year due to air pollution, and congestion alone costs Europe 100 billion euros yearly. 25% of the emissions in Europe are from transportation, and it is increasing. Electric cars also contribute to air pollution due to dust from tires, etc. So our solution is to making a Velomobil going from a Flintstone vehicle to car replacement. So we brought all the comfort and many safety features from the car and combined them with pedals and L-assist to make this vehicle. We call it Free Car. So you can ride in any weather, and it's perfect for short distances. So what we are looking for is finding a partner for making this vehicle self-driving. And we hope to find it in maybe here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sørensen. Honored ministers, keynote speakers, dear entrepreneurs and friends, this brings us to the end of the first part of our virtual business visit between Estonia and Norway today. Thank you very much for being part of this great collaboration. Now we are going to have a short coffee break, and then the bilateral meetings continue. Everyone who has prearranged their meetings should have received an email with joining information. The ones who did not have prearranged meetings can request the meetings with the companies via the link provided in the sidebar on the right. If you wish to set up a meeting for a different date and time, I highly encourage you to contact the companies directly via email addresses that you will also find under their profiles in the sidebar on the right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for joining us today. I hope that these bilateral meetings are going to be very fruitful and you're going to have great cooperation. We believe that virtual business visits can make connections that last. Thank you again for joining us today, and I hope you all will stay healthy and safe. Thank you.